Alright, Rebirth, you did it. Congratulations, you tapped me out on a challenge. Waka Waka, I did not quite get what was necessary in order for myself to succeed on that run. That's okay. We're on the host next. This is a great movie. I admittedly don't really know what we start with. It looks like the tick, and then, what is that bite? It's not, is it spider bite? If it's spider bite, that's pretty good. I think it's Infestation 2 and the Mulligan. This seems like a pretty strong start, so this is the host. I know there's two movies called The Host, by the way. 2C... I wrote it down wrong. 2CVL BJJQ. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Queen. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Queen. If you know what I mean. Alright, let's do this. Honestly, this seems like a pretty darn good start. If we start with Mulligan and Infestation 2, Infestation 1 is garbage. Infestation 2 is really awesome because it has the same impact as the Mulligan, strangely enough. That should at least, yeah, access that. I'm relatively content with it. I don't think... Maybe Infestation 2 actually does work the same as Infestation 1 and not like the Mulligan, but I thought it worked like the Mulligan. I guess we'll find out if I can go some rooms here without taking damage. Come on, that's ridiculous. Well, it's not really ridiculous. I really don't think, or let me put it this way. I was thinking this morning, I was making my coffee, and I was, you know, going over last night's terrible losses on the Waka Waka challenge. And I was saying to myself, how is it possible that a run where you can actually use tears is somehow more difficult than a run in which you cannot? And it's all because of the weirdly, stupidly anti-synergistic impact of, oh, yeah, you got me. Of anti-grav tears. So we got hit and we generated some spiders. I guess Infestation 2 does work the same way as Infestation 1. Where are you going? You're going that way first? Alright, then I can do this. Everybody shouts at me. They say, ooh, okay. They say, hey, don't stand right freaking next to it. You gotta go on a diagonal, you big old dummy. And you're completely not wrong. If you stand just slightly off to the side, it puts you in a much better position. And that was actually a pretty easy haunt fight, despite the fact that I took damage. But yeah, I think Waka Waka... It's one of those runs where I either need to get very powerful, which we did not get on either of our runs yesterday, or I just have to fundamentally kind of augment our playstyle. I don't know. Oh, good red heart damage right off the bat. I don't know what we'd have to do to augment it to be, you know, more palatable, but we'll have to, you know, come to that conclusion fairly soon because we are going to start revisiting our challenges soon. I would be surprised if we didn't beat Suicide King on our next run. We came so close. On the first run, and then I threw. There's no nicer way to say it than that, really. I was in a really good position, and I threw because I was being a little bit careless and thought I had the win for sure, and then all of a sudden, you know, red candles blowing up, Ipecac shots right in front of my face, and I died. I think on the next run, we'll be in a very good position to actually make that work for us. Waka Waka's the one, at least as of right now, that scares the shit out of me, because I don't know, that one could end up taking us 5 runs? I don't know. I'm spitballing. Who knows? Maybe we'll pick up like a mom's knife or something like that on the first run and then it'll be GG. But it certainly seems like the toughest one thus far, if I do say so myself. Let's go fight our boss right away. Yeah, I think like conceivably we should not really have that much of a hard time against Monstro. What would I love to achieve? Well, on any run where you have spiders and flies, you want to up your tiers and up your damage. Well, especially for the flies, I guess, up our tiers. But up our damage, because the spiders and flies are augmented by that. It would also be awesome if we could get Hive Mind. That was actually a big crowning moment for me, remembering the name of Hive Mind. I was like, big beautiful fly? Big fan? No, it's Hive Mind, the one that makes your flies and spiders much bigger. This might be a good start. HP is always good. And yes, we will take Mom's Knife. I'm thinking about taking 9 lives just to be kind of silly, but I'm not going to do so. This puts us in a fantastic position. This is like your ideal Isaac position. You let me check something for a second? I think my microphone might be slightly too loud. What are we at here? It's 60. Yeah, I'll take it down a little bit. You know, I've been doing this. I've been in this game for a long time. I can tell when I'm clipping a little bit more than I should. Maybe I'm just a little overexcited as well. But this is your ideal Isaac situation right here. So we buy a fanny pack. Fanny pack's not necessarily ideal, but that's okay. High HP and Mom's Knife. Like, 2 HP on your first 2 floors, followed by a 2 HP deal for Mom's Knife is like Rebirth 101. It's like, when you see that deal, somebody is smiling down upon you. Are we going to use 2 bombs to get well, obviously, yes, to get a Tinted Rock? We are indeed. And it's a bit of a sacrifice, because it's possible that we could have found our secret room and bombed our way into our boss trap room. But boss trap rooms, well, first off, it wasn't even there. But boss trap rooms also have a tendency to not be super reliably good lately, so I don't really mind it. Are we gonna take 9 lives? It could be fun. We don't have a chance anymore. Let's, you know, I'm still reeling a little bit from our last challenge not going very well for me, so let's just enjoy this one, where already we're, like, substantially above where we would expect to be. I mean, you only really need 1 or 2 good items, or great items at least, to have a really good chance of winning a Rebirth run to begin with. You know, Mom's Knife by itself can carry you a long, long way. Mom's Knife plus the Mulligan can carry you maybe to the end of the game nearly by itself if you get some HP to augment it. And then you throw in Infestation 2 and whatever else we're going to get over the course of the remaining boss rooms and stuff like that. And I really feel like this one is... I don't want to... Here's the thing. I'm the worst salesman of all time. I'm like, you probably don't want to watch this run. No, that's not what I'm trying to say. I'll go off on some tangents about, you know, Canadian hip-hop... Not hip-hop. Like, boy band B44 or something like that, before we get a little further in, but that's the main reason you're here anyway, I'm assuming, is for all those hot B44 tangents. But anyway, I really feel like there's almost nothing I can imagine that would really slow us down enough to the point where we could actually lose this run. We have arguably the most useful damage item in the game, at least the most common useful one, like the one that's most practical. You know, Mom's Knife might not be the best George Foreman grill out there. Wait, how am I trying to phrase this metaphor? The George Foreman grill might not be the best grill out there, but it's good enough to get the job done, so most people use it. That's how I feel about Mom's Knife, you know? I might rather have Sacred Heart, Guppy, who knows, even Brimstone sometimes, but Mom's Knife, there's no arguing that it's tried, tested, and true. So yes, there was a Canadian pop trio from, I believe they were from, like, Etobicoke, which is in the greater Toronto area. Think of it maybe the same way you would think of, like, a, I don't know. I'm trying to think, like a San Andreas is like a part of Los Angeles. Anyway, I don't know enough about Southern California geography to say if that's correct. But in any case, back in like the early 2000s, they had this song that was big in Canada. We're definitely going to take Red Candle if we can get the cash for it. And it was big in Canada. I remember seeing the music video. I was like 12, 13 years old, into pop music as people were back then, and probably still are, I guess, if I had to imagine. But anyway, and the song was called Get Down, and it's become kind of infamous, but I remember talking about it in high school with some people and being like, man, that song Get Down was actually kind of dirty, right? If you get down on me, I'll get down on you. I can do anything that you want me to. It's a game of give and take to make it through. So if you get down on me, I'll get down on you tonight. And then, I'm trying to think, because there's one, like, really egregious lyric, not egregious in a bad way, but that makes it, like, 100% clear that the entire song is just about, specifically, oral sex. I think it's, oh, I want to know exactly what to do so I can never get, so you can never get me off of your mind. And then the guy in the background goes like, so tell me what you're thinking. And then, main bleach blonde man comes out and says, communicate, and I'll go undercover. Get ready. That get ready was my part. Gonna make you come tonight. And then in the background, to make it a little bit more innocent so they can still get played on Much Music, the Canadian equivalent to MTV. Gonna make you come tonight over to my house. The guy in the background is like, you thought we were doing something dirty, but no, but she's just gonna come over and then we're not gonna fuck. Come on, B44. What do you take us for here? Anyway, that's my analysis of B44. You should listen to the song. It's not very good, but it's pretty funny. It doesn't look like we're gonna be able to get enough money, unfortunately, to buy a Red Candle. Oh well, we're still, you know, crazy powerful in our current iteration, but yeah, you should look it up. It's the way that it's spelled is B, and then the number 4, and then a dash, and then another number 4. Now, given the name of the band, would you like to guess how many people are in it? I don't think I probably need to, you know, give you the explicit answer to that question. What comes before 4? Gonna make you come tonight over to my house. Just the greatest pop lyric of all. I can imagine, like, some parents listening to that. Oh, come on. That's not so bad. I can imagine some parents listening to that, like their 13-year-old like daughter has it on. Communicate and all. Ooh, that's really lucky. I'll go undercover, gonna make you come tonight. And then the dad, like, he's reading a newspaper, probably the Financial Times, or in Canada it would be like Globe and Mail Report on Business. And he's reading, he's got like his glasses on and his slippers, and you know, he's got this idyllic like Leave It to Beaver life, and he lowers the corner of his newspaper to gaze at the radio as if, wait a minute, this radio didn't say something sexually explicit in the company of my daughter, did it? And then the guy comes on in the background, over to my house, and he goes, oh, he's got a little smile on his face, you kids. Alright, I thought you were doing something dirty, but actually, that was just my dirty mind. I am going to ravage your mother later in a consensual and very God-loving way. Anyway, I didn't even realize we had Curse of the Maze going on here. There's some other lyrics in it. I don't know. They didn't have a second hit, but Before 4 is kind of like Canada's O-Town, is the way I see it. Which is technically not true, because O-Town is most famous for being on the American MTV reality show Making the Band, whereas Canada had their own version of that called Pop Star. Maybe it was Pop Stars, I can't remember. And they made a game, or they made a, I was gonna say a game. They made a band, I think it was called like Jillian's Crush? It was something along those lines. And I can't remember, but I think maybe Stacey Ferguson of the Black Eyed Peas was in it, and like was one of the members that eventually got selected. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Fergie, of course, the one who peed herself that one time in concert. Happens to the best of us, man. Probably. I don't know. I could piss myself. I could be pissing myself literally right now. You would have no idea. How do you feel about that? Makes you probably a little uncomfortable. Is it gonna make you come tonight over to my house? Anyway, you know, O-Town had that song Liquid Dreams. What, like, this is what I think of when people my age, and you know, a couple people my age, I'm in my mid-20s now, they've started having kids, and I can see the transformation from like cool kid to like, wow, blah, blah, I'd never, you know, it's starting to happen. Not that there's anything wrong with either of those. You know, if you're a parent, your number one responsibility should be to, you know, protect and nurture your kids in a good way. We'll play this guy until we get down to one key. I'm feeling risky today. But I hear them say things like, pop music these days is so sexual. And I'll admit, you know, if you're listening to a lot of modern pop music, not all of it, but some modern pop music is basically like, I'm gonna fuck you on the dance floor tonight. And you're like, okay, well that's pretty explicit. But they were saying the same shit, they were just like slightly concealing it back when we were 13. That doesn't make it any less explicit. I'm gonna make you come tonight over to my house. What are you gonna say? Just say, oh, Your Honor, no, we were just gonna play some Street Fighter 2 on Super Nintendo. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You know? Anyway, I guess we're headed down to the next, oh no, we should go to the shop. Didn't realize we got so much money over the course of that demon beggar there. So that's what, whenever people are like, oh, you know, kids these days, the sexting and the blah blah, but you think you wouldn't have been sexting if you had the opportunity to? Don't even give me that shit, oh, kids sexting these days. Anthony Weiner was like a 60-year-old, well, he's probably like a 45-year-old man sending pictures of his dong to other people. It's not like this is a phenomenon, oh, this generation, blah, blah, blah. Your freaking generation sending the weird underwear dick pics. You gotta just reconcile, man, that's human effing nature. It's not anything to do with the generational thing. If your great-grandfather working on like a fucking Kansas farm could send a picture of his dong to your grandmother, he probably would have done it. You're thinking of your grandpa in his easy chair, you know, he's had a good life, he's retired, watching some, you know, Meet the Press or something on TV. 16-year-old version of your great-grandfather would have been all over those dong pics. That's all I'm saying. It's human nature, dog. It can be curtailed to some extent, but don't try to give me the only reason I even bring this up is not to be weird or gross, but just because there's that, you know, weird preachiness whenever people are like, and I'm not trying to be the guy who's like, hey, you know, hello fellow teenagers. Like, I don't really care, but I hate seeing people my age make that transformation into being like, well, we weren't like that when we were kids. Dude, I fucking still am that kid. Just because you had a baby, that pushed you out of the generation. I have friends who are, you know, 26 and they act closer to 16 than to 40. Well, I mean, I guess that they technically are closer to 16 than to 40, but you get the idea. I'm just saying. You know, you're entitled to your own opinions, of course, but when you start saying, oh, this generation, kids these days, you know, then you gotta open yourself up to the actual, you know, the possibility that somebody's gonna counter-argue that, because it's fucking horseshit. Alright, anyway. Binding of Isaac, B44, get down, check it out. It's a great It's a good one. Yeah, it's one of my formative experiences. It's not as good as Too Close by Next, and this is a song that I've discussed, many people would probably say ad nauseum over the course of my Let's Play series. But Next, Too Close was a song, I believe it was from 1997, so it was a little bit earlier than B44, but definitely an influence, no question about that. And it's a song, you know, it's a boy band. The song takes place in a nightclub, and they go, "Baby, when we're grinding." Grinding is a term for dancing real up in on somebody, like you're doing it doggy style almost. "Baby, when we're grinding, I get so excited. You know I like it. I try but I can't hide it. Ooh, we're dancing real close. Sorry. We're dancing real slow. We're getting real close. You're making it hard for me. Ooh, girl." And you might be saying, well, sure, that sounds a little sexual, Northern Lion. But I don't think, like, when they're saying you're making it hard for me, it's more just, like, clever wordplay. Like, it's difficult for him to contain his desire, right? Well, yes, but also he is boner. And you think, you know, that's not poetic license or a creative interpretation on my part. Because there's like a counter melody just in the pre-chorus. Actually, it might be actually in the chorus. It doesn't really matter. We're not, you know, Wynton Marsalis here. We're not analyzing this. But anyway, the female voice, who is the one being ground upon in the grinding here, says, "Feel like we're dancing kinda close. Feel a little poke coming through on you." And then the man does not ignore it, does not correct her. He says, "Yeah, I know you felt it, and girl, you know I can't help it. You know what I want to do." I had to run through the lyrics in my head there. So yeah, don't give me that shit. Next, Too Close, 1997. They're basically talking about fucking in the club. So if you want to, oh, Usher's loving this club. I don't know. That's pretty explicit. Yeah, well, get over it. You know. That's an okay haul for 15 cents there. I haven't been talking at all about this run. I know that it always aggravates some people. They go, "Northern Lion, just at least fucking talk at all about what's happening in Rebirth right now." This is the perfect run for tangents, because basically, we're so exceptionally strong that if you need me to give a play-by-play here, go back and watch an earlier episode. You gotta get, like, your Isaac Fu above, like, a first grade level. No offense, but we are, like, set for effing life right now. Even if we have to go, I'm gonna take Book of Belial even. Even if we have to go fight, oh, wow, thank God we bought the ability to fly. Even if we have to go fight Isaac, and then we even have to go to the, we have to go to the chest afterwards, I think we're totally set. We're just gonna leave and head down to the next floor. I'm not even gonna use the Emperor card, just on the off chance we do end up having to fight Mom, and then I could use it in the womb later. But anyway, so yeah, if you're, I bring up this message for two age groups. If you're like 15 and you have to deal with people, teachers, whatever, saying, "Oh, kids these days, cell phones, yada yada." Oh, I wish kids didn't have cell phones in class. You know, I was a teacher temporarily. I can understand being annoyed that kids have cell phones in class, but when we didn't have cell phones in class, we just fucking doodled in our notebook. We just drew a bunch of, like, stupid shit, you know? Now, maybe it's a little easier to get distracted by cell phones, but it's not like if you're bored, you'll find a way to try to unboard them yourself. Anyway, if you're like, you know, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, etc. You're dealing with, you know, parents or teachers, and they're saying, "Oh, kids these days, kids these days." Just know, you shouldn't argue with them, because you're not gonna win, because they're older, basically. You know, that's just how it is. And I invoke that all the time. But anyway, you're not gonna win the argument, but just know that they're talking horse shit. But it's coming from a good place, you know. They're not saying it to make themselves feel better. They're saying it to kind of make it, you know, because they got a protective influence there. They're like, "Man, I'm glad I'm not a kid growing up in this day and age. I'm glad I grew up when I grew up, because it was so much different." Anyway, and if you're you know, maybe early mid-20s, and you're starting to get to the point where you're like, "Oh, 16-year-old kids are so stupid. I wasn't that stupid when I was 16." Basically, have a brief moment of introspection and realize that you'll figure it out. When you were 15, you were that stupid. I was that stupid. You were that stupid. Abraham Lincoln was that stupid. Gandhi was that stupid. We were all that stupid, okay? And I'm not saying that all 16-year-old people are stupid. I'm just saying that you're stupider than you will be when you get older, and that's okay. Every year, and I talk about this. Oh, it's a tinted rock. Holy crap, I saw it. Someone up there likes me right now. I say this all the time. It comes up so much, but I like to bring it up. And that's every year you get older, you should have like a day. January 1st, probably, because you got fucking, you know, drunk on New Year's Eve, and now you're sitting in bed, oh, what am I doing with my life? You should think back, you know, maybe you're turning 26 that year. Think back to what you were like at 22. Think about the worst shit, like dumbest shit you did when you were 22, and then you'll be like, oh my god, I was an idiot. But when you're 22, you don't think you're an idiot for doing that stuff. You think you're, you know, when you're 22, you think back to when you're 16, and you go, oh, I was an idiot. And when you're 16, you think back to when you were like fucking 9, and you go, oh, I could barely fucking do long division. What an idiot. Anyway, what I'm getting at here is you should always have those periods of self-reflection. They help keep things in perspective and remind you that no matter how much you know fucking nothing. And as I say this, I want to throw myself out here at the end of this and say, I'm in my mid-20s. The fact that I'm giving advice as if I'm some kind of authority is total horseshit. And I'm pretty sure this exact conversation is something I'll look back on when I'm like 28 and be like, oh, I thought I knew so much about the world, but I knew jack shit. You know, Mark Twain, I think he had that, I'll definitely nail the quote here. I'm actually going to buy the Bible so we can get, or the battery so we can get 2 charges here, just for fun. But he has that quote, and I'm going to nail it. But he says, like, when I was 14, my father was an oafish, dumb man. But when I turned 20, I was amazed at how much the man had learned in 6 years. And it's like, you know, it's a little clever because, actually, Mark Twain, your dad didn't get that much smarter. You got smarter, and you realized that your dad wasn't always an idiot. That's kind of the way I feel about it, you know? The older I get, the dumber I realize I was when I was younger. But that just never ends. I'm pretty sure the dad in that Mark Twain quote is like, shit, I hope my 14-year-old son never finds out how much of an idiot I am. Because everyone's just making it up as they go, man. Nobody's got a plan for how to handle every situation. There are no adults. They're just people who make adult decisions most of the time. Oh, shit. Now, when I'm 28, I'm going to be looking back to this conversation. I'm going to be like, oh, you fucking cringeworthy piece of shit. You thought that was deep. I'm getting fucking Chris Nolan here. I'm getting rolled in on myself. I don't want to deal with your shit, Demon Judgment, just so you know. If this is the end of this run, I mean, first off, we got Mom's Knife, so it's kind of unfair to say that this was a super easy challenge, but let's be honest, it was a pretty easy challenge. Where's my foot at? There we go. Like, even just starting with the items we did, it was very easy. And there's our trophy. Maybe we'll do boss rush mode just for shits and giggles. But they're all kind of bad. If there were really good things in there or things that would give us weird synergies, I'd take them, but whatever. There's no need. We would just be doing it to kind of, you know, fillet ourselves. We could use the shovel and go deeper. I'm not gonna, though. I think we're just gonna end the challenge here. What I don't want to do is let my hubris get the better of me and then end up losing the run. So we'll take our challenge win there. We got Tech Point 5. I don't think I've ever seen that. But we'll be back in our next challenge. I think it's the Family Man, which is one that people have been, you know, definitely looking forward to because apparently it's super difficult. But for now, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. Helps out a great deal. And of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. But for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.